2009, 2010, you play in 3 grand finals in 12 months.
Yeah, not many people have done that.
Correct, correct. And it's unique, but it's also an incredibly successful time for the footy club. What's your reflections on that period, right now? But
yeah. I mean, as I sort of touched on earlier, we feel like we've got a team that we don't have the medal, but we've got the bond of a premiership team where we've got the utmost respect for one another. We all get on really well. We still catch up once a year. We do it prelim week. Can't do the grand final reunion. So we do prelim week, but we all get together prelim week and catch up, and we all get on great. So, I mean, look, of course it's disappointing you don't have the medal. But at the end of the day, and we've sort of spoken about this, I mean, there are a lot of players that have a premiership medal that, might not have the same sort of relationships and friendships and bonds with their teammates, So that's probably as is important to me as having, displaying the medal and having it on the CV is that we've actually got a bond as a group that will last us a lifetime.
Do you reflect on the games at all? You'd have, not regrets, but you'd have moments that you think about, you personally?
Yeah, no? Of course you do. But as I said earlier, I think my strength is I'm pretty pragmatic and pretty understanding. Like, it's a game of footy. Yeah. Missed kicks, missed goals, that happens. You sort of can't sort of live your life going, what if, because that's just the way the game is. It's what we love about it. We probably the hardest part was the 2009 grand final against Geelong when you look back at it. And it was nice of my old man to sort of ring me about 6 weeks after. He goes, have you watched the replay yet? He goes, I didn't realise it was 37 inside 50s to 18. I said, yeah, thanks, Dad. We were dominating that game against Geelong, just weren't able to put enough score on the board, and we left the door open for that brilliant team to come back. That's probably the one that got away. 2010, we were 4 goals down at halftime. And for us to get back and hit the front when Brennan Goddard took that hanger top of the square, it's the only time in a game of footy I've ever had sort of tingles or goosebumps where he took the mark and kicked the goal with 5 minutes to go. And I actually remember standing on top of the 50 and getting the tingles thinking, holy shit, this is real now. We could win this. We're 6 points up, 4 minutes to go, 5 minutes to go. So that was pretty cool. And then obviously went straight back into the centre bounce and they got a goal straight away.
And the noise at that time?
Yeah, the whole moment. That moment where you're actually like a sort of supporter or spectator. You're standing there and you're thinking, holy shit.
If you're a footy nuffy, so I'm a footy nuffy, and I tell a few sporty stories and put a lot of mayonnaise on them. But in a grand final, I've lost one, won one, but there's a few moments like that where I've had it's like an out of body experience. It's like I was wrapping my house in streamers, blue and white Geelong streamers as a kid, and now I'm in the middle of the MCG and. And it sounds weird because you're in the middle of the grand final. Yeah. But it sounds like you've had that too.
Yeah, it's spot on. Yeah, you have. You're thinking this is that little split moment. You go, is this real? Yeah. Running out the MCG, the national, that bit after the national anthem because that's coming because you've watched grand finals your whole life, and when that national anthem finishes, what's about to happen, and you're actually out there, so you sort of almost wait for it and take it all in. So.
And then you realise Ross Lyon's watching down.
And then it's like, right. Then you realise you can't just sit back and watch the game. You've actually got to go. You've got to go and make it happen. So you pretty quickly switch back into game.
Would you have won it if it does what it does now? Is extra time?
Nah, I see again. I don't buy into that because I'm the pragmatic type that goes. The ball goes back to the middle, and it's a ball up, and one team's winning that clearance, and from there the game plays on. So I don't buy in or subscribe to, we had the momentum and we would have won it in extra time because
still got to win it.
You still got to win it, and I understand how it works. But it's ironic that those grand finals, and this sounds now like a bit of like a woe St Kilda, poor us sort of thing, but in 2009, the grand final, Tom Hawkins kicked the goal and he hit the post, massive deflection.
Yes,
umpire missed it, called it a goal. So the year after was when the AFL said, hey, we can't have this happen in a grand final. We can't have a grand final decided by an incorrect goal review. Let's bring in the goal review system. We're like, okay, 12 months too late. And then the following year was the draw and no extra time. Had to come back the next week. We had 7 or 8 blokes that were shot. Mentally, we were shot because we put everything into it and we were no good the following week. Then a few years later, we can't have a replay. That's unfair. Let's make it extra time. So we're like, oh, well, thanks for that. Extra time would have been handy a couple of years earlier. So so we're probably on the end of a bit of bad luck.
Did you when that siren goes, are you like, fuck, we got to replay this? Does that message come up at all?
No, because we'd never spoken about it. Yeah. So even for me, who was a footy head, I had this split second where we had the moment of like, oh, and then it was like, oh, what happens now? And what happened was, because must have been psychological, both teams really quickly sort of ran into their huddles to get together. So Collingwood did it and then we did it. And there was a part of me thinking, oh, we might we might play extra
We're
time
playing
here.
it.
Even though I knew that it wasn't extra time, I was thinking to myself, maybe they'll change it and then let's just play extra time now. So that was my first thought. So you sort of run into the huddle, and then very quickly Andrew Demetrio came out in the field and the captains went over and it came back and said, no, you're playing again the next week. It was just a bizarre, like nothing feeling. Like you've put your heart and soul, you get told it's your last game, put it all out there, this is it. And then it's an empty feeling. And what was bizarre about our grand final was for some reason the change rooms got flooded at halftime. So while the game was on, all of our bags and everything got moved to the other side of the ground, to the Auskick change rooms on the southern stand side of the MCG. So we had to walk over to these other rooms that weren't even ours, didn't know where our bags were. Half of our parents were in the rooms, half weren't. Half the parents didn't know whether to come and give you a hug, whether to stand back and do nothing. So it was just this real weird, bizarre sort of whole situation where, like, yeah, no one's really, only a handful of people have experienced before. And it was quite unique.
That was just a little teaser of our full episode. They're out Wednesdays on YouTube, and you can listen to them wherever you get your podcast. Go on, get out of here.